Hello newbies, this is Suspect Amy and I'm here to do a quick video about whether or not it's better to jump or sidestep to evade incoming attacks in Marvel Rivals. I want to get into a breakdown of why exactly I think jumping is better than sidestepping in Marvel Rivals, but I want to warn you, I'm only a casual player and I suck, so treat this video as a form of kicking off discussions. There's been quite a few questions about jumping in Marvel Rivals on Reddit, and there are two common answers I see. Yes, jump because it makes it harder to target your head. No, stop jumping because it makes it easier to target your head. So what's going on here? This more or less comes from Overwatch guides. In that game, there is clearly a better way to play, and that is not to jump. Jumping gives the enemy a predictable way to know exactly where you will be when you land. Advanced players have a reflex instinct about this and can pull off headshots pretty consistently on jumpers. However, if you move side to side in unpredictable pattern, this makes it much harder for people to shoot you. The confusion is when you watch these same Overwatch players in Marvel Rivals, they are doing the exact opposite and jumping like crazy. So, what is it about Marvel Rivals that throws Overwatch's no jump rule out the window? I'm a software tester in my day job, so I like to come up with some theories, then test these out. Let's see how I do. Theory number 1. There are more obstacles and high ground in Marvel Rivals. The idea here is that you should always be jumping because that ensures you land shots over cover. There isn't an easy way to really quantify this across so many maps in each game, but as a casual player of both games, I personally feel like there are more obstacles you need to shoot over or around in Marvel Rivals. There are also many more layers and changing environments to every map, and to me, it does feel like high ground is utilized much more in Marvel Rivals. So this theory I'll give a pass. Theory number 2. The left to right movement is slower in Marvel Rivals. This is kind of hard to test since one game is first person and the other is third person, but if I set up a 1-second timer and switch directions every second over and over, the eye test tells me that the reaction time on direction change and speed of movement is very similar to both games. But let's say that I am wrong, that sidestepping is somehow slower in Marvel Rivals. There is a hero, Mantis, who has a 40% movement speed at full health. You can see here the range she covers in the same 1-second text compared to a normal hero. She is so fast, surely high-ranked Mantis players are sidestepping way more than jumping, right? Wrong. Top-ranked Mantis players seem to jump just as much as every other hero. So this I will mark as fail. Theory number 3. Jumping is different in Marvel Rivals. To start with, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Marvel Rivals heroes seem to have more tools in their toolbox when it comes to making their jump less predictable. From dashes to backflips to floating to flying, it's incredibly common to interrupt jumps mid-air to make them less predictable than in Overwatch. However, let's remove abilities from the equation completely. If we just compare basic jumps between Marvel Rivals and Overwatch, what do we see? Wow, yes, the jump in Marvel Rivals is different. The jump in Overwatch completes a bit faster. This means that if you're going for that predictable headshot at either the peak or the landing, you are waiting an extra fraction of a second in Marvel Rival. That fraction of a second might be enough to introduce more risk. One other jumping effect I wanted to investigate is how jumping impacts your field of view in both games. So what this is referring to is how much your screen moves up and down when you jump. If it moves too much, it introduces a lot of busyness to your view and it makes it harder to track bad guys. The idea is that if this shift effect is less in Marvel Rivals, that makes jumping in Overwatch more disruptive by comparison. This again is hard to test due to having first-person and third-person views, as well as how far away in the distance certain buildings are. But here's Overwatch's view shift while jumping. And here's Marvel Rivals. It looks like while the field of view shift is the same in both games, Marvel Rivals has that extra hang time and a softer landing, so this does actually make the field of view less jarring than Overwatch. So yes, jumping is slightly better for the player in Marvel Rivals. Pass. Theory number 4. Headshots don't matter in Marvel Rivals. Now we're getting somewhere. Even though both Marvel Rivals and Overwatch have a double damage headshot multiplier, here are 4 reasons why I believe headshots are less of a concern in Marvel Rivals than they are in Overwatch. First, let's quickly cover another elephant in the room, and that's the large number of melee heroes in Marvel Rivals compared to Overwatch. These heroes cannot headshot, but they are almost impossible to dodge through simple sidestepping or jumping. Second, who can even headshot in Marvel Rivals? In Overwatch, pretty much every single hero has the ability to headshot outside of a few tanks. In Marvel Rivals, only 13 out of the original 33 heroes have a headshot mechanic. If more than 60% of the heroes can't even perform a headshot, is this really something you should be worried about? Third, headshot hitboxes are really sloppy in Marvel Rivals. Here is me testing on Luna Snow.
You lose, demon!
Now compare this to how tight the headshot hitbox is in Overwatch.
Right on the money.
And finally, there's something that makes evading headshots pointless, and that's if the enemy has attacks that don't require aiming, like Namor's pets or AoE attacks. Let's just look at duelists for now. If we count how many are either melee, have long-running non-aim attacks, or have 6-second AoE attacks. Pretty much 80% of the heroes have a skill set that makes dodging headshots against them pointless. You could almost argue that against grounded AoE attacks specifically, jumping may have an advantage over sidestepping. If you put this same criteria on damage heroes in Overwatch, only about 55% of them have either long-running non-aim attacks or ranged sub-6-second AoE abilities. This means Overwatch is heavily, and I mean very heavily, reliant on headshots compared to Marvel Rivals. Okay, let's wrap this video up. Personally, yes, I would argue that there is lower risk to jumping in Marvel Rivals, and it's basically better for evasion than sidestepping. Do you need to jump like crazy to be competitive? No, I think Many streamers jump as an offensive tool more than a defensive one. Maybe it keeps their adrenaline and momentum going. They train their aim and timing around their jump. While it's rare, I've seen high-ranked players who don't jump very much and they do just fine. I think the best players are comfortable incorporating both styles in their game, like SK here, who is my favorite streamer. If she's high ground, you almost never see her jumping around. She does a lot of sidestepping, but when she's in the thick of battle, you will see a lot more jumping. That's all I have today. Thanks for watching my video. Bye everyone.